Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And this is Taj Cameron. And today we actually are going to be going over a little bit of DisEnchanted. This just came out recently, and I didn't see the film, but I've been going through the synopsis of it. And the Lord gave me something off of what I got from the synopsis of it. And I'm going to go through what the Lord showed me, which is still very meaty for um, this film. So, God did give me a revelation. Now, let's see if I can pull it up over here. So as we recall, if y'all didn't see my Rima review for Enchanted, go look that up. It's not really, is it going to impede in the me you hearing what I got to say right now? Not really, because it kind of picks up where we've left off with the direction of our conversation. It's kind of a warning in all actuality that the Lord gave me. So I'm going to just simply release to you what the Lord showed me. And last night, He made it evident that He wanted me to talk about this. He gave me 2 extra points, and Lord, give me a recollection of exactly what you want me to say in the midst of it, because last night He was outlining something specific in relation to the notes that I took. Let's see, there we go. Now, first thing that He brought my attention to, we are in a season right now where we are birthing. Okay? We are birthing something brand new, and God has us kind of in that phase of the birthing process. I did a word a while back that I talked about we are birthing, but we are also being birthed simultaneously. Now, Lord gave me this last night while I was, in addition to the notes that I wrote for this film. Now, the first thing that I came to the understanding of is, Lord, I need your help. There's something else you want me to say. It was something very specific you wanted me to bring a point to as I go. Please do not let me miss out on what that point was. Bring it back to my remembrance, because I remember you showing me that it was something that should have been written in these notes that I did not have the exact pinpoint for. And I'm going to need your wisdom as to what you want me to say there. And it was an aha moment. So I'm going to need you to give me that back. And I think it was 2 points in all actuality outside of the birthing thing. We have been in a season where we felt like it's been hard to give birth, hard to give birth, hard to give birth. But I've been feeling like this past week has been a birthing for us. And we have fought hard to walk with God in this process and to win these battles and to make it into our promised land. We may not have fully walked into the promised land as of yet, but we are walking into it. And because we are walking into it, there's a level of warfare that comes with it. And I've noticed a blanketed attack in the body against the body, meaning the physical body, which is a manifestation of what's happening to the church. They say there is a attack on the body of Christ. And the attack that I've seen is specifically against the voice. There are 5 people, at least I know, that I've listened to. All of them all have said, coming down with something. My throat was bothering me. Another person had oral surgery. Another person had something going on with them. My throat's been acting up. It's been a unanimous thing. It's been happening, at least to the people that I know. Now, there's a couple people I have not seen on since the beginning of the week. And it wouldn't surprise me if when they come back, they say that something happened with their throat too. It would not. Not by any means. But it's been an attack against the body. So I wanted to mention that. And with that, I wanted to come into the beginning of these notes. So, from my understanding, when we come back to DisEnchanted, Giselle's character is trying to find a balance. It's been 10 years since the first movie, and she's gotten married to her husband. And I can't believe it. I done forgot his name again. Robert, that's his name. She's married Robert. And they have a little girl that looks like is maybe about not even a year old yet. Maybe 4 or 5 months. And they are adjusting to having the new baby. And the older daughter, she is a little bit in that teen angsty phase where she's like, I kind of don't feel like I belong in this picture. And it's almost like what you would assume would be the teenage acting out type scenario. And you're seeing Giselle deal with her own internal midlife crisis of trying to figure out how to parent a teenager and a infant. But you know how she's doing it. She's trying to make it as whimsical as possible, but she's got the lifestyle, but it's something missing for her. And she begins to talk to her husband about it, and he's come to a point that he's fallen so in love with her in these past 10 years that they've kind of become complacent. He's not even challenging her the way that he used to challenge her in the beginning of their relationship. And everybody's kind of come into a phase of mundaneness or comfortableness, but the eldest daughter is challenging that because she's kind of being a teenager. And what ends up happening is, I believe Giselle creates, does she create a new room for her? What? What it is Giselle doesn't feel comfortable, so the Robert, he kind of says that whatever you want to do, what do you want to do? And she ends up wanting to move. So what they end up doing is they end up moving to a nice community that to her feels more like, what do they call it? And I forget what they pronounced the village that she lived in the animated world. But because of that, they end up moving to this other community. And the daughter feels like she feels out of place and really is agitated because of the fact that now I have to move to another place and have to go to a new school and all of this kind of stuff. And she doesn't feel like she fits in. And then Giselle, she's trying to help, and she gets the daughter her room put together, and then ends up subsequently causing all of her clothes to get burnt up. I do not know how that happened, because I haven't seen the actual film to know the exacts of how that happened. But the eldest daughter's clothes get burnt up. So in her clothes being burnt up, she has to wear Giselle's clothes to school, which doesn't work. But the guy that she's interested in still notices her, even in Giselle's clothes. Then Giselle shows up to do the school. I think it was some type of school, like homecoming dance, where they have to vote for whoever's the most popular thing. And here comes Giselle trying to assist the daughter, and she brings all this stuff like, come vote for blah blah, the daughter. And the daughter's like, I cannot believe you came to the school and embarrassed me by doing this. And she didn't get it. She thought she was trying to help. And then they end up getting into another argument. And it's a whole bunch of things, little teeny, it's what you call the small foxes. And Robert, he has to go commute to work now that he's moved to the new house. So his commute is way longer than what it was before, and he's dissatisfied with it. And then there was some type of electrical thing that happened. He ends up with coffee, spilling the coffee. Him and the daughter end up bumping into each other, and they spill coffee all over each other. And it's just a bunch of mess. And it's almost as if Giselle forgot the things that she used to be able to do naturally when she first got there. She forgot who she was. Let's just say that. She started to forget who she was because she became comfortable being the human in that world, that she forgot the creativity and the whimsy and the way that she knew how to solve problems in the first film when she was fresh to that new world. But she's become so accustomed to being there that she's become what? Complacent. And in her complacency, she's lost her identity. And she's trying to be the best mom and the best of this, and nothing's working right. It's kind of that famous midlife crisis that a lot of people go through when they are transitioning to something new. And it's an adjustment. You're adjusting to being a new mom. You're adjusting, you just graduated and you're going to a new school. You're adjusting, and you're adjusting from being single or dating to being married. It's that adjustment period, and you're trying to find your footing type thing, but still maintain the relationships while everybody else is also evolving in the same situation, but each person is handling it differently. The first thing I want to mention is we have a tendency to believe that when we get married, when we get that thing, when we receive these promises, whether it's the new job, the new home, the new marriage, the kids that the Lord has promised us, that it's all going to work out. Yes, we're going into the promised land. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. And see, this is the thing that always bothered me when I hear a lot of people. There are two sides to every coin. You have a 50-50 split in the Christian community that like to speak about this. There's this set of people that said, oh, when you get into your promised land, the Lord's going to give you rest, and it's going to be the perfection of God, and God's going to have you be in the rest of God and the peace of God, and God's going to give you peace, as according to Ezekiel 37:26, that the covenant of peace is going to befall you. And I received that. But there's another set of people that are like, oh, when you get into this new phase, you got to keep alert, because you're entering the ring, and it's a new ring, and it's you got to be aware, and you got to stay vigilant. And yes, you should always stay vigilant, and you shouldn't allow your gifts to fall off. But you have to come to that understanding of where you are. And this is where a lot of us are right now. We're at the precipice. The precipice is literally the point in time that is the most dangerous place. You're at the threshold of your blessing, and the blessing is right there. But we all, these bags aren't here because they look fun. I didn't put those there. They're here because I actually am tired. We've been fighting. We've been warring. Some of us have been dealing with attacks on our bodies. Some have been dealing with attacks on our minds, our spirits, our souls. God knows. It has been warfare. And it has been unfair warfare. And because of that, we kind of have been come to a place, not so much that we are complacent, but a place where we're kind of tired of the whole process. And that's dangerous, because in that place, that means that have a lot to lose as well as a lot to gain. And this is the point where the enemy would come in if you are not aware and try to twist you. Twist. I'm going to show you how. In the film, she is looking at her life and coming to the realization that it's not the perfection that she's used to, that she had in, I keep wanting to say Allendale. It's not Allendale. It's God, I can't think of the name of the it's it's like a way that they say it. It has a little accent to it, and I can't get the accent right for where she's from. But basically she's missing home. She's missing that place. They were greeted. They even went and visited that community place. If that's not exactly where they moved to, like they moved into a community that was, because her ex and his ex were both there, so it may have actually been a community in that other realm, if you understand what I'm saying. And but it wasn't what she thought it was going to be. And she felt dissatisfied. A lot of us have to be so careful about dissatisfaction in coming into our promises that we don't sabotage ourselves as we are coming into the point of promise, that we actually begin to pray amiss. What do I mean? That we literally pray prayers using our words, speaking into existence things that are not the will of God for our lives in this season, because it's taking so long. It's taking too long. Speaking word curses over the very blessings in which we are seeking to see the manifestation over. Or worse yet, thinking that we can manipulate the outcome of the blessing by praying specific things over them. Okay? Meaning that we're operating outside of the will of God, which is akin to what? Witchcraft. Because when we try to move in our own doing, we can actually affect what God is trying to do. God's going to let us do what we want to do, what He's going to show us. Okay, that's the way you want to do that? You do that if that's what you want. But if that's what you want to do, I'm going to show you how that's not going to work for you. You understand what I'm saying? So It is a very dangerous place because you literally are threatening becoming the very counterfeit and stepping into the counterfeit position by operating in this headspace. I hope I'm explaining this correctly, because you're trying to manipulate the outcome to your favor when it doesn't feel good or match what you think it should feel like. So the enemy will come in and tempt you into performing witchcraft, because there's such a thing as Christian witchcraft. Be aware of it. And you will slowly start to adopt traits and characteristics that will slowly open doors to things that will create something that is not of God's desire, but out of your desire. And you will be operating in your own control, which is akin to what? Pride. And in this place, you will have to come face to face with your own arch nemesis. Your arch nemesis is the inner enemy within you. Pride, envy, jealousy. Because you will literally be dealing with your own duality. Okay? We as Christians, and I spoke about this once before, we are walking a very tight rope when we're walking with the Lord. And by walking this tight rope as we are walking with the Lord, it is dangerous because we have the ability and capability that we can see both sides. We know what the devil does. We know, we see, we've discerned, we have the understanding. We've gotten our behinds wore out by the enemy in certain seasons. But there are points and times that you have to be careful of, again, the complacency, because that complacency will make you lull yourself into a level of spiritual sleep, I guess, where you no longer have the desire to do the things that got you to where you are now, to continue to maintain it when you get to where you're going. And that hustle and bustle, the strife, the fight, the warfare, all of that kind of stuff, it's not going to be there the way that it was, but you're still going to have to maintain the things in which you did in order to get there. But with that, there's a part of you that, if you're not careful, you will spiritually be lulled to sleep. And when that area becomes spiritually lulled to sleep, is where it becomes dangerous. Because you ever heard the saying, idle hands are the devil's playground? That if you are no longer doing what's necessary to be done to keep you spiritually in alignment, you put yourself in a danger zone that the enemy will slowly creep into those places. And he will do so by creating, like I said, the duality of presenting something that looks just like God, but is not God. And slowly you will creep over into that thing. And it will happen so subtly. It will happen so subtly that over time, you won't even realize that you've switched sides. You know how they always say that you don't want to get to heaven and have God say, I know you said that you did all these things in my name, but I never knew you. Does anybody else have that nightmare? Because you did it outside of the relationship with God. We have our own works, and some of us know how to work our works extremely well. But we need to have the Lord walking with us in that process. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't want to lose God. And allow pride, jealousy, envy, sabotage, all of these things to become you, and you become rooted within you slowly, subtly, and creep to the surface so much that you never saw them become a part of you, and you literally become the very thing that you hate, the thing that you spent years fighting, praying against, all of these types of things, and subtly you began to become it. Remember when I did the graduation word, when I talked about that it's going to be a continual thing, that you are riding the line between good and evil. It is a thin line between love and hate. And it is a daily choice to choose to stay on the side of good and to walk with God. God